All right, well, welcome back to Bits and Boards. This is Mike.
And this is Eric.
And today we're going to take a look at Abyss. This was a big hit in Gen Con 2014, I guess depending on who you ask, but I think it was a big hit. I mean, the art's fantastic anyway. And this is a 2 to 4 player game. It plays in about 45 minutes. This was developed by Bruno Cathala and Charles Cavalier. It's an Asmodee production. So let's take a quick look at the game, and then we'll come back and give you our opinion on it. So we're going to do a quick overview of Abyss. Now, there's 3 things that you can do during a turn. You can explore, get assistance from the council, or purchase a lord. Exploring is pretty simple. All you do with the active player flips a card over, and then he doesn't get to buy this one right away. He doesn't even buy it. He will get it for free eventually, but the first thing he has to do is he has to check the other players. Would you like to buy this particular ally? Allies are used to purchase lords, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. And there's 5 different kinds of allies: jelly, crab, horse, clam, and octopus. So I expose this one and I say, player 2, do you want to buy this for 1 pearl? He passes. I ask player 3, do you want to buy this for 1 pearl? He says yes. I give him the card. And then he gives me his pearl. He doesn't put it in the bank, he pays me, which is how that currency kind of flows throughout the game from player to player. Okay, so the third player bought that, so I'm going to flip over another one. Now, a monster came up. Okay, I can either fight a monster or pass it. If I choose to fight it, it's automatic. If I fight it, I get whatever reward that red marker is on the threat track. It's the very first one, so I either get 1 pearl or 1 monster counter. The monster counter, or tokens, all they are just straight influence points. And I want influence points. The goal of the game is to become the king of Abyss. And I want as many influence points as I can at the end of the game. Okay, and each time you pass, this threat marker moves down. So if I pass this time, which I will, this goes down here, and the next time a monster comes up, it's either going to be worth 2 pearls, 1 pearl and monster token, or 2 monster tokens. So in this exploration, for this active player anyway, I'm going to pass. So I expose another one. Okay. Ooh, it's a 4 horse, which is good because the way that this works is there's a 5 value, 1 5 card for each race. And I think there's 2 4s and something like 3 3s, 3 2s and 4 1s, something like that. So a 4 horse is pretty rare. So I asked the second player, do you want to buy this for 2 pearls? Because every time a ally is purchased, the cost goes up by 1. So I asked the second player, do you want to buy it for 2 pearls? The third player can't buy one because he can't buy it because you can only buy 1 per active turn. And he already bought one, so he can't buy 1 anyway. So I asked the second player, do you want to buy it for 2? He says, sure. Well, he can't. He's only got 1 pearl, so he can't actually buy it. Now, as the active player, since he can't buy it and he already bought one, I can either pick this one up for free or I move on. I'm going to move on, even though it's a good one, so I can show you what's going on here. I don't want that one either, and he can't buy it because he doesn't have 2 pearls. I don't want that one either. And I come down to the end here. Once you get to the end, if this is a monster, you have to fight it. If it's an ally, you have to pick it up. Now, there's a pearl here. I pick it up, pick up the ally. On this last one, I get a pearl. So that's how I get some more pearls in the game. Once I buy this, then I take the existing, I put the monster in the discard pile, and then I take these cards and I put them in their corresponding stack. That's the first action. I'm going to skip straight to the lords. The second action is this, but I'm going to go straight to the lords. So the allies are used to purchase lords. So here you can see I have a 4 horse, a 4 clam, and a 1 jelly. So if the conditions are right, I can use these. These are the currency. So I have 9 currency, and if the conditions are right, I can buy something. So let's take a look down here at what I can buy. Let me show you a lord card first, and it turns out I'm going to be able to buy this one. So in the upper left-hand corner, you have the influence points, and you want as many influence points as you can get by the end of the game. In the upper right-hand corner, you have a key, and keys are used to open locations. In the lower left-hand corner, you have this 6. This is the cost. This is the purchase price to get this Lord. Here's the name. This is the shaman. Here's the ability this one has. Now, this one's pretty unique, these bubbles here. So this jelly means in order to buy this, I have to have at least 1 jelly ally. And these 2 other bubbles mean I have to have 2 other allies to do this exactly. So I have to have the jelly and 2 other allies exactly. I can't play with this with 3 or 4 or 2 jelly allies. I have to have 3 different ally types. Now back to my hand, that's actually what I have. See there? I can use the 1 jelly and then the 4 clam and the 4 horse to buy this Lord, and I'm going to do that, and I put it down in front of me. Now once I buy, I take the lowest value card and put it down in front of me. That's called an affiliated ally, and you will see location cards that will say, you know, for this particular race, let's say the jelly race, for every jelly affiliated ally you get 2 victory points plus a static 5. So if I have 3 of these, it's going to be 6 plus 5 is 11. That's just an example. So I discard these 2, and this one goes down in front of me. Now that I purchased this Lord, I'm going to slide these down. Now I don't automatically fill these in. This stays open until one of 2 things. During your turn, you can choose to plot the court, is what it's called. Now I can plot the court by spending a pearl and then flipping this over. This is the first thing you do during your turn. If you want to plot the court, you have to do that before you do exploring, buying a Lord, or taking the council stack. So if you want to plot the court, you spend a pearl, and you flip over the top card and fill this in. Now if 2 of these are empty, you can spend 1 pearl, flip over a card. If you don't like that one, you can spend another pearl, flip that over, and buy that one if you want to. And you can do that as many times as you want. So let's say we have 3 open spots, and I buy this Lord. It's going to expose these 2 pearls. Once these 2 pearls are exposed, then you fill the court back up. I get 2 pearls, and you fill the court back up. Okay. All right. So the last action that we didn't talk about was getting help from the council. So let's just say, I'm not sure, let's see here. So here's a jelly, another jelly, a crab, a horse. After a few rounds, you're going to have these kind of big stacks. So when you get to your turn, you can either do an exploration, get help from the council, or buy a Lord. So this time, I'm going to get help from the council, which basically means you can take 1 stack of any ally race. So this jelly stack is pretty tall. I'm going to take that. I'm done. Okay, so now that I have my allies, you have to check. The last thing you do before your turn is over is if you have the condition for opening a location. If you open a location, you have to have 3 keys, and you can get keys of 1 of 2 ways. Keys on the Lord, like so, or key tokens from defeating monsters. When you have 3, you have to get a location. There is no option. So let's say I have 1 key token and then another Lord that has a key. So I have 3. Now I'm going to buy, I can either take the location that's in front of you, or I can take 4 from the stack and take a look at them. Okay? So I take 4 from the stack, up to 4. You can take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but I'm going to take 4. I'm going to choose from the 4, and let's say I want this one. And then the other 3 come down so your opponents can see them, which is great. I think this is a great mechanic. Because me as the active player, I get more options to take a look at, see what locations are out there. But it actually helps my opponents because now they don't have to look. They don't have to blindly take like I did. They actually can see the locations that are out there, choose, and then if they don't like anything out, then they can pull from the stack, but anything they don't use gets placed down in front of it. Now, there's different types of locations, right? So, and there's, I'm not sure how many, I think there's 3 or 4. But this particular location where this trident, this location is going to be based, a Lord base. So this one says X equals the number of influence points of your weakest Lord times 2. So this is going to be based on what lords you have. Now this little starfish is going to say something about allies. 3 influence points for your affiliated allies from the seahorse race, +3. So if you have 3 affiliated allies down here from buying lords, then that are seahorse, you would get 9 + 3 is 12. And this is the other selling point on the games, are the art on these location cards. I just think it's pretty darn amazing. And I don't know how long it took them to get these, get the art done for this game, but I mean, it's just friggin' fantastic. Here's another one. So good. Here's another one. I don't know what that is in there, but it's pretty amazing artwork. Okay, so that's buying a location. So in your turn, the first thing you can do is plot the court. The second thing you can do is either and you have to do this, plotting the court's optional, and then you go into, you can either explore or get assistance from the council or buy a lord, and then at the end of the turn, you check your conditions to buy a location. If you buy a location, you buy it, and then you see the abilities here, you put it over the top of those abilities, and whatever lords you use to unlock this location, you can no longer use those abilities, and the key goes into there. Once you've done all of those, your turn is over, and then it moves on to the next one. At the end of the game, whoever has the most influence points wins. The end game is triggered when either you can't replenish the court anymore, meaning, so let's say I have 2 open spots and only 1 card left. I can put this in here, but it's not all the way to the end. That's going to trigger the end game. Or the other way is that as soon as one player has 7 lords, that's also going to trigger the end game. Once the end game is triggered, the current player finishes their turn, and then everyone else gets 1 more turn. At the end, you're going to add up influence points from your locations, your lords, your strongest affiliated ally from each race, and the monster tokens. Whoever has the most influence points will win the game. All right, welcome back. That was a quick look at how you play Abyss. Pretty simple game.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple game.
And there's not a whole lot to the actions. We have those 3 actions you could take, the 2 optional ones and the 1 mandatory.
It's very simple to pick up, but the artwork is beautiful.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, the Xavier Collette, I do believe I said that correctly, did amazing work on that. We've heard so much about the artwork on this, and from Asmodee Games.
Yeah.
The theme is unique also.
Yeah.
It
is unique. There's not a whole lot of underworld,
underwater
merfolk. I mean, the theme to me is okay. I would have liked a different theme. Fantasy or science fiction would have been better for me. I mean, it's okay. It's great. I mean, the artwork makes up for it. I mean, each lord has a different picture. You're not repeating anything. The allies, of course, are all the same, but who cares about that? I mean, the lords are all different. The locations look great. So, and I think when it comes right down to it, the mechanics of the game are pretty sound.
Yeah, it's really easy to pick up.
It's a good entry-level game in my opinion. It's a new one that you can introduce to someone that's looking into games to kind of broaden their horizon, to say, you know, let's take a look at Abyss for you and see if that's something you like, especially with that hand management kind of matching component, and then the sets. Getting the sets of keys to get your location, getting the set of lords to take advantage of the location capabilities and stuff like that. Now, in terms of scalability, we've played this with 2 players, we played it with 3 players. It's okay at 3 players, or 2 players, it's still a good game for me at 2 players, but man, it played way better, and I had a much more fun time with it than with 3 players than I did. I haven't had a chance to play it with 4, but I had way more fun with a 3-player game than I did a 2-player game.
There was a lot more involvement in
the
3-player. The 2-player, yeah, it was fun, but I mean, I would sit down with anybody and show them this. But
I would still play it with 2 players. But if I had my druthers, I'd play it with 3 or 4 for sure.
Right.
Because I mean, the ally cards, they don't get refreshed very fast with a 2-player game. You don't see all the lord cards with a 2-player game.
Right.
With like a 3-player game, we were cruising through the lord cards pretty quick. I mean, I thought we were actually going to finish the game by not having any lord cards.
Exactly.
And then Tiana ended up getting the 7th lord card. So I think the scalability is it scales up good. It scales down okay. But
and you know, taking different strategies with the different lords. I mean, the first time we played, I went heavy into lords, trying to get those high level farm worker lords.
Yeah.
The second time I did more of a military type thing where I was trying to do more things against you and Tiana.
Yeah, and that was the other thing with the 2-player game. That if you don't go for the high point lords, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
You got to go for them. You got to fight for them. Or at least there's a lord there where you can discard a lord that's in the order and then draw a new one from the top of the stack. If you can't get the high cost lords, you need to get them off or else you're just going to lose. So I think the mechanic of the exploration where the other players have the opportunity to buy the lords before you do is really good. The idea of when you select a land, a location, you can either take the one in front of you or draw up to 4 cards, and then you take the 4, and then when you get that, it gives the opportunity to see some, but then it gives your opponents the opportunity to see some without having any guessing work.
And
it's a good mechanic.
And you kind of you gave me the game.
I did
in that sense. I really didn't understand the monsters fighting the monsters.
It's just felt kind of added on.
It was just added on. I like the pearls. I wish it's very unique because they're the little pearls and everything.
The money.
But I wish that at the end it had more victory point. You know, it wasn't just giving pearls to people to get.
Oh yeah, like the pearl. Oh, so you're saying that at the end of the game, if you had a bunch of pearls, that should count for some victory points.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
They scored everything else.
Yeah, but it also might try and make you work more efficiently.
Yeah.
So, just the way that this game works, where if it seems like if you try and make your hand better, you can do that at the expense of giving your opponents more opportunities to take things. And there is some other player interaction, especially with those soldier lords. The soldier lords are brutal.
They are very brutal, but I thought it was very balanced.
I thought so too.
Very, very balanced.
I like it a lot.
I do.
I mean, it's not out yet. And thank you, Phoenix Fire Games in Meridian and Sean for loaning us this copy. This is the demo copy down there. So thank you to Phoenix Fire Games for loaning us the copy.
Yeah, Sean got at Gen Con a copy of it for a demo. He let us borrow it.
That's great.
It's amazing. So go check out Phoenix Fire at their new location.
It's a new location.
And
but in general, for Abyss, I really like it. I think it's a good entry-level game. It's something that you can sit down, set up, and take down as quick.
And play is quick.
And play is quick, especially once you start getting those. That's why it says on the box 45 minutes. I think we did a 3-player game in an hour maybe.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting down for a long game night, you can play this a couple times. I really like it. The theme.
And I really like the theme. That's where we just
yeah.
So
anyway, all in all, Abyss is a well-balanced game with some good player interaction. It is the mechanics of you're kind of trying to get out there in front of everybody, but when you do that, you give everybody options for more powers for themselves. I think is really good.
Yeah, and it's something I'm going to probably pick up.
Yeah, me too.
The other thing at Gen Con that they talked about is the cover. The cover.
4 different covers.
There's 4 different covers of all the different lords, which is kind of a cool kind of add-on little thing. I definitely going to pick it up when it comes out.
Highly recommended.
Yep.
I really, really like it for what it is. The only other complaint is I wish it played more than 4.
Yep, and maybe they will come out with an expansion that'll allow you to play 5 or 6. So.
All right, so there you have it. This is our review of Abyss. We really like it, and so thanks again for watching. And if you like us, please subscribe
and like. Thank you.
Yep, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.